1 in 3 jobs could vanish by 2030 because of AI. Will yours survive? The panic says it'll hit the old first, the technologically left behind, those who still print their emails. But the data actually shows that seniors aren't the vulnerable ones, they're the most protected population. In an AI takeover, the analog mind might be the ultimate weapon, the people who spent 40 years building what AI can't replicate: trust, judgment, a Rolodex that does not run on algorithms. Meanwhile, younger workers are discovering their experience means nothing when the digital system does the work better. Is it possible we've misunderstood this revolution? Think of a lighthouse on a storm-battered coast. The lighthouse is old. Its stone is weathered because of salt and wind. It has seen 1,000 storms, maybe 10,000. It has guided ships through fog so thick you could not see your own hand. Nearby, a new tower has been built. It is sleek, white, and modern, with smart glass, advanced sensors, and blinding light. It is the future. But when the real storm hits, a storm of thick fog and unpredictable currents, which light do the ships trust? The new tower can shine brightly. It can process weather data at incredible speeds. It can calculate the optimal path for every ship in the harbor. But it cannot know about the subtle shift in the wind that signals a change in the tide. It does not know the history of the one rock that has sunk 3 ships in the last century. The old lighthouse keeper, however, does. The keeper's knowledge is not in a database. It is in his hands, his eyes, and his memory. He knows the small sounds of the sea. In an age of brilliant machines, the simple, tested wisdom of the lighthouse keeper is becoming our most valuable asset. The AI revolution is not about replacing old with new. It is about understanding what different tools are for. The sleek new tower is a powerful addition. It provides data and light. But the old lighthouse provides something else. It provides judgment. It provides context. It provides the one thing an algorithm cannot generate: the deep, lived-in knowledge of the terrain. The seniors, the keepers of this analog wisdom, are not being left behind. They are the ones who will keep the ships from crashing on the rocks when the digital fog rolls in. They are the ones who subscribe to being young at heart. The story we tell ourselves about technology is often wrong. We assume new tech hurts the old and helps the young. But the data tells a different story. A recent study from Stanford economists is turning this assumption on its head. They analyzed 25 million payroll records. This was a massive, detailed look at who is actually winning and losing in the age of AI. The results are not just surprising. The people we thought were most at risk are, in fact, the most secure. The Stanford study discovered that workers over 35 have seen employment grow in AI-exposed fields. Let that sink in. The jobs most likely to be touched by artificial intelligence are the very jobs where experienced workers are gaining ground. Meanwhile, what about the entry-level workers? The digital natives aged 22 to 25. Their employment in these same fields is down 13% since ChatGPT launched. The very people who supposedly speak fluent AI are the ones being replaced by it. The ones who grew up with the internet, who live on their phones, are finding their skills are easily replicated by the machine. Why is this happening? The answer seems to lie in the nature of the work itself. AI is exceptionally good at entry-level tasks. It can summarize documents, write basic code, and answer customer queries. These are the jobs often given to recent graduates. They are the first rung on the corporate ladder. But AI is not good at the tasks that come next. It cannot manage a team. It cannot negotiate a complex deal with a difficult client. It cannot spot a subtle flaw in a business strategy that looks perfect on paper. These tasks require something more than processing power. They require judgment. This is the core finding from the Stanford payroll data. Experience is not a liability in the AI revolution. It is a shield that works. The generation that possesses it in abundance is not just surviving the initial shockwaves. They are thriving. They are leveraging AI as a tool to enhance their existing skills. The data shows us a clear picture. The lighthouse keeper's not being fired. He is being given a better pair of binoculars. The young assistant who only knows how to read the manual for the new tower. His job is the one in danger. So why do seniors win? Older adults have a fundamentally different relationship with time. They do not think in quarters or fiscal years. They think in decades. They plan in seasons. They have seen markets rise and fall. They have watched industries boom and then go bust. They have witnessed technological fads that promise to change the world only to disappear a few years later. This is not pessimism. It is a form of accumulated wisdom. It is the understanding that change is cyclical, and that most crises are temporary. This long-term perspective is a powerful defense against the panic that AI can generate. When a new algorithm disrupts a workflow or eliminates a category of tasks, the first instinct for many is fear. But a person who has lived through the dot-com bubble, the 2008 financial crisis, the shift from analog to digital, has a different reaction. They do not see an apocalypse. They see a pattern. They have seen cycles before. This allows them to stay calm, to assess the situation without being overwhelmed by the noise and the hype. This emotional stability is a crucial asset in a time of rapid, unpredictable change. Think about how this plays out in a small business. A younger owner might see AI automating her marketing and panics, thinking her business is now obsolete. An older owner, who remembers when websites first became a necessity, might see it differently. She sees this as a new tool that can free up her time. She knows that the core of her business, customer relationships, quality products, and local trust, remains the same. She knows to wait to observe and to adapt carefully rather than making a rash decision. This long view stops quick, fearful choices. It helps keep stores open, jobs steady, and families calm. This is not a passive strength. It is an active one. The ability to see beyond the immediate chaos is what allows for strategic rebuilding. Seniors who have managed teams or companies know that after a disruption comes a period of realignment. They know to rebuild slowly and deliberately. They focus carefully on what is durable, not what is trendy. AI moves at lightning speed, creating a constant sense of urgency. The person who can resist that urgency, who can take a step back and ask, what will matter in 5 years? This is the person who will make the soundest decisions. The long view is a strategic advantage. Money matters. This is not a popular thing to say, but it is a true one. Financial stability is a powerful form of resilience. Many seniors have spent a lifetime building it. This is not necessarily about being wealthy. It is about a mindset forged in different economic times. Many older adults grew up with parents who lived through the Great Depression. They learned to save from watching hardship firsthand. They watched prices jump. They saw friends and family go through layoffs. As a result, they learned to build a buffer. They kept cash. They invested in things that last. They avoided high-risk, high-leverage bets that can be wiped out overnight. This financial cushion is more than just money in the bank. It is a buffer that buys time. When a system changes as rapidly as it does with AI, time is the most precious commodity you can have. Time allows you to learn a new skill without the pressure of an overdue rent payment. Time lets you wait for the right opportunity instead of jumping at the first, most desperate option. Time lets communities organize and support each other. AI moves fast. It can render a job obsolete in 6 months. The money that buys you a year to retrain or pivot is a profoundly powerful defense against that speed. Consider the difference in financial standing between those new to the workforce and seniors. A 25-year-old is likely carrying student debt. They may have a small amount of savings, if any. Their financial life is fragile. A single unexpected event, like a job loss, can be catastrophic. Now consider a 60-year-old. They may have a paid-off mortgage. They have a retirement account that has been growing for decades. They have a network of financial relationships built on years of trust. This is not universally true, of course, but the pattern is clear. Financial fragility is concentrated among the young. Financial resilience is more common among the old. This buffer does more than protect the individual. It stabilizes communities. Older members with financial reserves can continue to support local businesses. They can help family members who are struggling. They can fund local initiatives. Their stability acts as a shock absorber for the entire local economy. An algorithm can disrupt a payroll system overnight, but it cannot drain the savings accounts of an entire generation. In the economic storm that AI might create, it is the anchor that keeps the ship from being swept away by the current. Now let's think about something more tangible. Think of hands that know how to fix a failing engine. Think of someone who can repair a leaky pipe. Someone who can cook a large meal from a few simple ingredients. Think of someone who can mend a torn piece of clothing. These are analog skills. Seniors grew up in a world where you could not simply download an app to solve your problems. If something broke, you had to figure out how to fix it yourself. Without YouTube, you had to understand the mechanics of how things worked. This hands-on practical knowledge is a form of intelligence that we have started to devalue. But what happens when the digital systems we rely on fail? When the power goes out, your smart home becomes a dumb box. When the network is down, your cloud-based files are inaccessible. When a cyber attack cripples a logistics company, the delivery app on your phone is useless. In these moments, the person who knows how to read a paper map likely becomes the most important person in the room. The person who knows how to use a hand crank radio becomes invaluable. In these moments, the person who knows how to purify water becomes a lifesaver. AI needs electricity. It needs servers. It needs a vast, complex, and fragile infrastructure to function. Old hands, on the other hand, need no upload. Their skills are stored in muscle memory. It is a practical assessment of risk. Our over-reliance on digital systems creates a single point of failure. We have outsourced our collective memory and our practical skills to the cloud. Seniors who retain these analog abilities provide a crucial backup system for society. They are the human hard drive, the repairman who knows how to fix a generator, the grandmother who knows how to can vegetables from her garden, the carpenter who can build a shelter without a digital blueprint. Their skills keep life moving when the digital world stops. In a crisis, their knowledge is worth more than 1,000 lines of code. It is the ability to provide warmth. It is the ability to provide food. It is the ability to provide shelter. It is the foundation of community resilience. We have spent the last 20 years celebrating the innovators who are building the new digital tower. Perhaps it is time we started celebrating the people who know how to keep the old lighthouse running. Their practical, hands-on knowledge might be the thing that keeps the lights on when everything else goes dark. Beyond money and practical skills, there are quieter strengths that come with age. The first is emotional calm. Older people have, by definition, lived through more. They have lost jobs, buried loved ones, watched carefully laid plans fall apart. They have had to get up the next day and rebuild. This process builds a kind of emotional armor. It teaches you that you can survive bad news. When an algorithm makes a scary prediction or a market takes a sudden downturn, they do not immediately react. They ask, okay, what do we do next? This calm is not indifference, it is wisdom. Next, people skills win. Before smartphones and social media, human connection was built differently. The business world focused on face-to-face interactions. Over a cup of coffee or a backyard fence, seniors learned how to read a person's face, their tone of voice, their body language. They know that trust is not something you can download. It is something you build through small, consistent acts over a long period of time. AI can mimic human conversation. It can write a polite email, but it cannot build a 20-year history with a neighbor or a client. A good doctor, a trusted boss, or a reliable friend is not a data file. Seniors hold these deep, analog bonds. These bonds are more than just pleasantries. They are the trade routes of a healthy community. When the official systems are broken or overwhelmed, these informal networks of trust are how things get done. They are how you find a reliable plumber, how you get childcare in an emergency, or how you borrow a crucial piece of equipment. AI can optimize a supply chain, but it cannot create the human trust that makes that supply chain resilient. In a crisis, the person with the strongest personal network is often the most powerful. Seniors are the keepers of these networks. Finally, patience is a quiet power. Growing up in an era of letters and landlines builds a different internal rhythm. You learn to wait. You sent a letter and waited a week for a reply. This taught you to think before you spoke, to plan ahead, and to appreciate slow, steady progress. Seniors grew slow habits that yield lasting gains. In a world obsessed with speed and instant gratification, this capacity for slow, deliberate work is a superpower. AI thrives on instant results. It can generate 1,000 ideas in a second. But a human who does accurate, steady work can make sure that nothing broken or dangerous slips through the cracks. These are a few ways seniors are winning. These are not abstract theories. Real people on the ground mixing experience with new tools, creating something better. Lighthouse keepers in action, showing us how it's done. They are not fighting AI, they are mastering it, guiding its power with judgment. Take Maria. She is a 65 nurse practitioner. She runs a small clinic in a rural town. She trained when paper charts were the rule. The most important diagnostic tool was a long conversation with the patient. Her clinic adopted a new AI system suggesting care paths from patient data. Some younger nurses were hesitant. Maria embraced it. She read the algorithm's suggestions for each patient. She did not follow them blindly. She used her gut. She mixed AI advice with deep knowledge of her patients' lives, their families, their histories. and outcomes improved. Her clinic's reputation grew. The algorithm helped. It did not replace her judgment. Take Tom, he is 72, and runs the local electronics repair shop. For years he fixed radios. He fixed televisions. Then came smart devices. New diagnostic tools were cloud-based, promising instant solutions. Sometimes the cloud lied. The algorithm pointed to software issues. When Tom felt a blown capacitor with his hands, an AI diagnostic missed a problem in the town's emergency communication system. Technicians were stumped. They called Tom. He consulted old schematics. He found the faulty analog part in under an hour. His town still needed him. The network could not fix things without him. Older adults often contribute qualities that AI lacks, like wisdom, contextual judgment, ethical awareness, and emotional intelligence, which guides us toward more humane and balanced outcomes of transformation. So, what can AI not do? This is the hard question we must keep asking. It cannot hold decades of lived experience in a human way. It can analyze data about a town, but it cannot live in that town for 40 years and know who pays their rent on time, who is a gossip, and who you can count on in a flood. It cannot feel the small, unspoken trust that grows between two people who have shared difficult times and shared meals. It cannot hold the complex weight of shame, pride, joy, and regret the way people do. AI sees patterns in data. Humans feel the context that gives that data meaning. This is why judgment matters so much. AI is great at generating options. It can give you 10 different strategies for launching a product or 3 possible diagnoses for a patient. But a person must choose. That choice is not a purely logical calculation. It requires values, a sense of history, and a deep understanding of the human stakes involved. Those things come with age and experience. In a courtroom, a city council meeting, or a hospital ethics committee, the judge or leader with gray hair can often spot the small, hidden risk that the algorithm missed. This skill has grown slowly, over years of making decisions and living with the consequences. Skepticism also helps. In an era of intense technological hype, a little bit of doubt is a healthy thing. Seniors have seen many next big things come and go, and because of this, seniors are naturally more skeptical. They ask, is this really better? Is it safe? They want to do a small test. They slow down the rollout and see how it works in the real world. They check sources. They ask for names. They want to talk to a human. AI promises speed, but speed can hide errors. The slow, skeptical check is what finds them before they cause real damage. Finally, community strength is vital. Older people are often the glue that holds communities together. They run the church groups, the neighborhood watch, the book clubs, and the local historical societies. These networks may seem quaint, but in a crisis, they are the first line of defense. When a tech-driven disaster strikes, a power grid failure, a supply chain collapse, it is these networks of neighbors who feed each other, share information, and trade skills. An AI can plan a soup kitchen, but it cannot run one. It is the people with deep local networks who make the heavy lifting of a crisis feel light. But this is not a simple war of old versus new. That is a lazy and unproductive way to see the world. Young people have incredible strengths like energy, digital fluency, and native understanding of new tools. The best possible future is one that mixes both old and new perspectives. The point is simple, and it is supported by the data. Experience is a powerful asset, not a liability. In many of the fields most exposed to AI, that experience is the very thing that protects jobs and enhances performance. The Stanford study is clear on this. We must stop talking about seniors as if they are a problem to be solved, and start seeing them as a resource to be valued. The path forward is practical. First, we must value experience in our hiring and team building. Stop prioritizing cheap, entry-level labor that can be easily automated. Instead, build teams that mix youthful energy with the wisdom and judgment of veteran workers. Second, we need to teach seniors tech skills in a way that respects them. Not remedial classes, but short hands-on workshops that let them test new tools on their own terms. Then, seniors can learn how AI can help them improve on their existing job. Third, we must consciously design roles that require human judgment, and roles that require empathy, and roles that require trust. That means we need to expand roles in clinics, expand roles in courts, build upon roles in local government, and expand community service roles. Fourth, and perhaps most importantly, we need to fund and support the local networks that seniors maintain. Invest in community centers. Invest in local clubs. invest in volunteer organizations. This is not just social spending. It is an investment in our collective resilience. These local networks are the backup system for when our complex globalized tech systems fail. They are our social insurance policy. We need to prize the deep, patient work of community, the kind that builds just as much as we celebrate the fast, dazzling work of technological innovations. Think of that old lighthouse on the coast. In the dark, the new tower's light is brilliant and dazzling. The sea churns and the fog rolls in, but the ships navigating the treacherous waters will always look for the steady, familiar lamp, the one that has seen 1,000 storms, the one whose keeper knows the name of every rock. Experience is that lamp. AI is a fantastic tool. It can map currents and warn of distant storms, but it cannot replicate the wisdom of the keeper, who knows the rocks and alone can guide the ship to safety. Seniors win with wisdom, and that is how we all stand steady when the tide rushes in. In the AI revolution, experience isn't the liability. It's the only shield that works. The generation that has it, they're not just surviving, they're thriving. AI is coming for your job. The panic says, it'll hit the old first. But the data shows seniors aren't the vulnerable ones, they're protected. In an AI takeover, the analog mind is the ultimate weapon. Trust, judgment, a Rolodex that does not run on algorithms, hire experience, teach tools with respect, fund community, build for judgment. The ships will always seek the steady light. Choose the keeper who knows the rocks. Stay with the data. Value the keepers. Subscribe for more data-led hope.